Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Excited for today's review. A little bit of collaboration, hopeful goodness, low ABV goodness, in the form of Two Villains and Muckraker Brewing. We'll get to that in a minute. This be their, whatever, a table beer. It is the 3.5% farmhouse ale. That's all I know. So yeah, table beer, Muckraker. We've done reviews of their beers on the channel. Interviewed Tom from Muckraker on the old podcast. Two Villains reviewed some of their beers. I don't know if I've actually reviewed a Two Villains beer straight up. Maybe. I know I've done some collabs. I think there might have been one or two in there. But this is a collaboration between them. Very close collaboration. They actually are kind of the same brewery now. So for those that don't know, or for those that want to know, Muckraker was in Franklin, New Jersey. Two Villains was kind of out in New York-ish area. They were in Nyack for a while, and I think they kind of bit and bopped around. They decided to join forces and kind of open a brewery with both of those entities existing under the same roof. It's called Alias Brewworks. So Muckraker still exists, Two Villains still exist, but they're underneath that Alias umbrella, and that's where I went today. I went to meet my buddy George. I drove up to, I forget the name of the town that they're in. I don't think you're going to be able to read it on here. The type on this is quite small. Anyway, they're up close to where Action Park in New Jersey used to be, like 8 minutes away from there, actually, not even 8 minutes. So I went up there to hang out and just chill. My buddy George had no intent on really kind of ripping beers or anything, just kind of meeting up, had a couple beers, bounced out. But Tom from Muckraker is there. We ended up chatting. Before he left, he tossed me a couple bottles, and this be one of them. So thank you very much, Tom. So I'm excited to dive into this. Like I said, there's not much else on the label. Actually, there is nothing else on the label to really speak of, so we're just going to dive into it and see what's what. It is very hot in my shed, so you might hear a little bit of background noise. That's my air conditioner going. Deal with it. And let's see what we got going on. You're talking about a 3.5% table beer. You're kind of barking right up my tree right there. Not that Muckraker hasn't done clean beer before, but they're known for doing their kind of fruit-based, kind of lambic style. Tom would kill me for using that verbiage, by the way. Fruited, soury stuff. But they do clean stuff. Two Villains are known more for IPAs and things like that, so it's cool to see them both kind of dive into the style. Label, it's cool. This looks like a scratchy label with some lettering on it, so I can get down with it. As far as the beer goes, because I am Mr. Dirty Glass Mafia, it's not too shabby. It definitely looks the part of a low ABV kind of ripper beer. Just soft little haze to it. Index finger as white could be. Super pillowy, soapy edge to it. It definitely looks the part of a golden little hazy. It's even good nose. Yeah, it comes off, for me, table beers, Belgian style table beers tend to be malt forward with a little bit of yeast phenolic in it, but more traditional kind of base kind of yeast. Nothing too crazy, nothing over the top. Sometimes a little, classic Belgian bubblegum stuff like that. This comes off a little bit more grisetti, a little bit more kind of farmhousey. It's called a farmhouse ale, but I see table beer, so I think more like table beer. But it's floating in those two worlds. You have that soft little hoppiness, nice sweet kind of maltiness, and that little bit of kind of not super acidic, kind of welcoming kind of farmhouse ale kind of tartness to it. Done and done. Nothing too hyper aggressive here, nothing over the top. You're drinking something where the yeast is playing a big part of the beer. That little acidic kind of pop thing, that little bit of farmhouse funkiness, along with that little bit of soft sweet maltiness and that little bit of soft little hoppiness. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, what we're looking at is tasty potable water, and I say that with all the love in my heart. I think that's one of the reasons why I dig on low ABV so much, because when you have a beer that really does show and prove at a low ABV, there's something so beautiful about it. Because this is obviously not just a watered down, washed out beer. Drinking this, you have vibrant malts, you have vibrant hops, that little tartness on the nose there. I thought it was going to be a little bit more aggressive. It's a little bit more reserved, still there, but again, you're drinking something that feels a little bit beefier, something that you're getting up there towards a 4.5%, 5% range, but you're talking about 3.5%, which is quite impressive. There's a decent bittering to it too. But I would say probably the coolest part about this beer is when you wrap all those combinations up, when you take all those bits and pieces, and you take that little bit of tart farmhouse ale yeastiness, you take that malt, that nice sweet maltiness, not too big, a little crackery to it, but there's also a touch of sweetness to it. You take that hoppiness. I would say it leans a little just generic citrus, but then there is a sturdy bittering to it. You take all those bits and pieces and you put them together. They're all within beautiful balance of each other. Each one is pushing up there, like I said, as something above, hitting above its weight class, pushing above that 4.5% to 5% perception of range, but it is 3.5%. They're pretty aggressive for that ABV level, but nothing gets out of hand here. Nothing gets out of turn. Nothing gets to the point where it's just too much bittering and a little bit of this. No, everything here has its peaks and valleys, but it's working really, really well together and comes off as, like I said, again, I can't state it enough, something that drinks quite a bit bigger than the sum of its parts, at least what's written on the label. Yeah, I can crush the crap out of this beer. This is what I would say is, this is a perfect beer for $7.50. Absolutely perfect beer for $7.50, because it is, you want to drink all this. You want to drink this much of this beer. You know, this is the stuff I would love to get in crowlers or large format. Again, small cans, great, love that. You can rip a bunch of them at individual rates, but this thing is going to be drank. It's going to be drank tonight. It's not going to sit around all that much. It's going to be gone. And that's one of my favorite things about this large format when it comes to these kind of beers, whether it be the Swears of the world or the Hills of the world, those kind of breweries, the Fox Farms of the world, when they make these beers, I'm so happy that they're in a larger format, because it just ends up being something that you just kind of drink throughout the night. You know, I'll sit here, I'll watch the news, crazy stuff happening today, what is today's date, July 13th, and just kind of sip on these suckers and, you know, enjoy. But yeah, I mean, like I said, honestly, table beer wise, at the nose had me throwing a little bit. I thought it was going to be very, very hardcore farmhouse ale, and while it does have that in its DNA, it very much comes off as a Belgian table-esque kind of beer with a little Americanized twist with the hops and how aggressive they are. But again, not over the top, and comes off as a nice, fun, expressive yet balanced Alias Brewworks collaboration. What was the words I was going to say? I had this whole thing in my brain and I just lost it. Expression of what they do. It's the Americanized version. It's a little twist on what they do inside something that has a very, very kind of old school DNA to it. And I dig on it. I think it's fantastic. Is it one of the better table beers I've had? It's like, yeah. It is. It almost defaults to Mount Rushmore status, but it's worthy. Regardless. Value and availability. Tom gave it to me. I don't know the price point on this. I don't even want to guess, well, let's put it this way. I would love for this to be $9. I don't think it's $9. There's a very, very few breweries who could ever do that. Hill Farm said maybe Fox Farm. Even Fox Farm, I think their table might be $12, $13. So I'm guessing this is anywhere between like $14 to $20 for some. That's my guess. They just opened 11 weeks ago. Kind of reining in those two breweries, doing this collab, the glass, the whole nine of it. I get it. I have no problems with that at that price point. And leave it with, if you like what we like this beer. If you like table beers and you want a little bit of a north, we're talking North Jersey twist on it, there you go. Muckraker. Two Villains. Have you had their beers? What's your favorite beer from them? Have you had Alias beers yet? Have you had this beer? All that fun stuff down there. Definitely worth a visit too. Like I said, if you're doing that, the best way I could put it, a beautiful spot. Like they have two rooms. They have a nice air-conditioned room upstairs. They have an open garage kind of area next to the brewery in a beautiful area in New Jersey. But it's smack dab in the middle. Like if you live in the Jersey area and you ever go to Orange County, New York, to like Drownlands or go District 96 or even though that's further out east, Equilibrium, Rushing Duck, Tin Barn, all those kind of breweries, you almost pass it going the back way up there, or going the only way you can go because there's no straight way, and vice versa. If you're coming down to the shore going that way, you're passing this, and it's a very killer spot and a beautiful place. So definitely worth a visit. So all that fun stuff. Let's talk about it. If you've been there, you've been in the spot, had their beers, all that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of the table beer right now. We'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.